Breaking news! We have some interesting updates that you'll want to know about our Cleveland Browns roster move, and I'll tell you all about it in detail. Before we dive into today's big roster moves, be sure to hit the like button so you don't miss any of the latest news leading up to Week 1. Let's go! As we gear up for Sunday's season opener against the Dallas Cowboys, the Browns have made some last-minute changes to their active roster. According to ESPN's Daniel Oyefusi, the team has added 3 players who could make an immediate impact. Wide receiver Jaylon Darden, cornerback Mike Ford Jr., and offensive lineman Germain Ifedi are joining the 53-man roster, and each brings some valuable experience to help bolster the Browns' depth. Now, let's talk about why these moves are important. Jaylon Darden, a 4th-round pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021, is a talented return specialist. He has accumulated over 500 punt return yards and nearly 500 kickoff return yards in his NFL career, making him a solid addition to our special teams. With Darden in the mix, the Browns have another option to give us that explosive edge in the return game. Next up, we have Mike Ford Jr., a familiar face from last season. Ford played in all 16 games for the Browns in 2023, contributing 28 tackles, 1 interception, and 1 fumble recovery. Adding him to the secondary gives us more flexibility, especially against a strong Cowboys offense led by Dak Prescott. Ford's experience in our system should help him fit in as a reliable depth piece. And finally, Germain Ifedi. With Jedrick Wills already out and Jack Conklin listed as questionable, adding Ifedi is a no-brainer. He's a versatile lineman who could play both tackle and guard, with 83 career starts under his belt from his time with the Seahawks and Bears. Having a veteran like Ifedi ready to step in gives us some much-needed security on the offensive line as we face the passing pressure of Dallas. These moves are designed to ensure the Browns have the depth and experience to handle any challenge that comes their way in Week 1. Whether it's on special teams, defense, or protecting Deshaun Watson, these 3 players add quality to an already strong roster. Now, Browns fans, what do you think of these additions? Are you excited to see Darden potentially pull off a big comeback? Do you think Ifedi will be key to bolstering the O-line? Now, we're just days away from the Browns taking the field at Huntington Bank Field to kick off the season, and we have a chance to extend our Week 1 winning streak to 3 consecutive seasons. Something we haven't done since 1988 to 1990. It's been a long offseason, but QB Deshaun Watson is back in action for the first time since last November, and our defense is ready to build on last year's dominance. But let's talk about the big challenge ahead, containing Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons. If you're a Browns fan, you know Parsons isn't just any linebacker. He's a monster. A 3-time Defensive Player of the Year finalist, Parsons has racked up 40.5 sacks since his rookie season in 2021, 4th most in the league in that span. And it's not just his numbers that are scary, it's how versatile he is. Parsons can line up pretty much anywhere on the field and wreak havoc. This season, Parsons is excited to show even more versatility under new Cowboys defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. As he put it, I could be at the 2, I could be at the 3, I could be at the 4. I could be a linebacker, I could be in the slot, I could almost be a safety. That's a nightmare for any offense, and the Browns are going to have to find a way to neutralize him if they're going to get that win on Sunday. Browns guard Joel Bitonio had a great analogy for it, calling Parsons the queen on a chessboard. He's not stuck in one position, he's all over the place, making moves, finding matchups he likes. That means our offensive line has to be at its best because Parsons isn't just going to attack from the outside, he's going to come from the inside, off the ball, wherever he sees an opportunity. And speaking of the offensive line, we have some questions there. Jack Conklin is still listed as questionable for Sunday after recovering from a knee injury that ended his 2023 season. Jedrick Wills Jr. has already been ruled out, so we could see either Conklin or James Hudson III starting at left tackle. Conklin, of course, is a 2-time All-Pro who played left tackle in college, but Hudson is no slouch either. He started 7 games for us last season and has had a full offseason of significant reps against Myles Garrett and the rest of our pass rushers. No matter who lines up, they will play a big role in keeping Parsons off Deshaun Watson's back and allowing our offense to operate. Parsons thrives on disrupting the quarterback, and if we want to come out of Week 1 with a win, we'll need to make sure he's neutralized. So, Browns fans, What do you think? Do you trust our offensive line to keep Parsons in check? How do you see this matchup playing out? Let me know what you think in the comments below. The Browns' moves are intended to add depth and versatility as the Browns prepare to face one of the NFL's best teams. Now, let's break down what these changes mean. The elevation of Germain Ifedi is particularly interesting. With left tackle Jedrick Wills Jr. rolled out for Sunday, the Browns needed to shore up the offensive line. Jack Conklin, who was expected to start at left tackle, is currently listed as questionable, which puts the Browns in a tough spot. If Conklin is unable to go, or if he starts and fails to make it through the game, Ifedi and James Hudson will need to step up. Ifedi saw some action at left tackle during the preseason, so having him on standby as a backup option is a smart move by the coaching staff. As for Jaylon Darden, he's someone to keep an eye on, especially in the return game. Darden was originally drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021 and has played in 23 career games. While his time with the Browns last season was brief, he is primarily known for his ability as a return specialist. With 56 career punt returns and an average of 9.4 yards per return, Darden brings some much-needed experience and speed to Cleveland's special teams unit. His kickoff return stats are also solid, averaging 20.3 yards per return. Don't be surprised if you see Darden make some big plays in the return game this Sunday. Mike Ford Jr. is another key addition. Ford has been a reliable special teams contributor since joining the Browns in 2023, finishing second on the team with 9 special teams tackles last season. He also stepped in as a defensive back and played 74% of the available snaps on special teams last season, proving his versatility. With the Browns focusing on improving their special teams performance, Ford's role could be even bigger this season, especially with Dallas likely testing the Browns' coverage units. In more news, wide receiver David Bell is back. Just 2 days after releasing him, the Browns have re-signed Bell to the practice squad. Bell, a third-year player and former third-round pick, has struggled to carve out a consistent role on the team. However, he showed flashes of potential last season with 3 touchdown catches and 38 receptions for 381 yards in 31 career games. His return to the practice squad gives the Browns some additional depth at wide receiver, which could come in handy later in the season. So, Browns fans, what do you think of these moves? Are you confident in the depth we've added, especially with the questions surrounding our offensive line? How do you feel about Darden potentially making an impact in the return game? Let me know in the comments. And of course, before you go, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future updates. We've got a big game coming up, and you won't want to miss a thing. Let's get ready for Sunday, and as always, go Browns!